things a little bit different. Brother Dave's going to go over the church history. Brother Dave's passing out. While he's doing that, if we turn to 1 Samuel, chapter 7. After we're finished with the church history, we're going to have some of the men, or all the men, give a testimony concerning the church. 1 Samuel 7, verse 12. And Samuel took a stone, set it between Mizpah and Shen, and called the name of it Ebenezer, saying, Hitherto hath the Lord helped us. Our history as a church is a display of God's providence, His watchful care, testimony of His love, His grace, His mercy, His goodness. It's Romans 8:28. It's a testimony of His protection, His provision, His watch care. It's a testimony that God can and does. It's also the testimony of faithfulness of a people. Church cannot continue unless there are faithful people. Not everyone has been faithful that's ever been a member of this church, but there's always been some. There's always been a remnant of those who were faithful and still are. And we thank the Lord for that. We've, for the last several months, been looking, studying, searching, digging to find out our history. And I believe what we have here is, as sure as I can be, an accuracy. Of course, a lot of records have been lost, and it gets difficult to piece things together. I was stuck in one place for well over a month, but finally ran across something that made sense of it. And but anyway, it goes back. We didn't go beyond the United States. Probably will do that. First Baptist Church, and this is the very first Baptist church in the United States, and that's Newport, Rhode Island, 1638. Next you see Cold Spring Baptist Church, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, 1684. Thomas Dungan, this was taken from Baptist Encyclopedia, was born in Ireland due to persecution under Charles II. He came to America, and he was united with the First Baptist Church of Rhode Island. In 1684, he and a small group of members from the church in Newport left there and went to Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And they were granted authority from the church in Newport, and the Cold Spring Baptist Church was organized. That brings us to Lower Dublin Baptist Church, Pennapack, Pennsylvania. Sometimes it's called, in various documents, Pennapack Baptist Church. but for the most part it was referred to as Lower Dublin Baptist Church. In 1686, Elias Keach, this may not mean much to almost everyone here, but he's the son of Benjamin Keach. Benjamin Keach is a Puritan writer. I have some of his books of London. And this Elias Keach, this is what was said of him, is a wild young man arrived in Philadelphia, posed as a minister. He obtained an opportunity to preach in the house of a Baptist in Lower Dublin. And when he had spoken for some time, he suddenly stopped due to the fact that he came under the convicting power of the Holy Spirit. And the people sent him to Elder Thomas Dungan, pastor of the Cold Spring Baptist Church. And the Lord saved his soul, and he was baptized in the Cold Spring Baptist Church. He would be sent out in time as a missionary, and as a result, this Lower Dublin Baptist Church at Pennapeck was organized out of the Cold Spring Baptist Church with 12 members. And this church, the Lower Dublin Baptist Church, Pennapeck Baptist Church, would be the mother church of churches in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Delaware, and Maryland. Then we come to Montgomery Baptist Church, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, 1719. Not a whole lot of record there, but we'll cover some as we get to this next one, Catoctin Baptist Church in 1751 in Loudoun County, Virginia. John Thomas, a missionary from the Montgomery Baptist Church, a church we just mentioned, was instrumental in the organization of this Catoctin Baptist Church, and he was the first pastor, but he was a missionary pastor. He was a traveling pastor. Later, the church extended an invitation to John Gano. John Gano. He's the one that history says baptized George Washington, but we're not going to go into that. Anyway, extended an invitation to John Gano, who had accompanied Brother Thomas on one of his visits. Brother Gano accepted ordination, and he came to Virginia. And these two missionary preachers, John Thomas, John Gano, would provide services, pastoral services, to the Catoctin Church, and that went on through the mid-1750s. And this is where I got stuck for a long time, and this is explained in this next box. Meanwhile, the Opequon, also known as Mill Creek Baptist Church. Sometimes it's called Opequon Baptist Church, sometimes Mill Creek Baptist Church. Virginia, organized in 1743. And they organized out of Saders Baptist Church, also known as Chestnut Ridge Baptist Church. And that was in Maryland. John Garrett, remember we just mentioned him. He was, or Gerard, John Gerard, he was the pastor of the Mill Creek Baptist Church before he came to this Catoctin Baptist Church. And that area where the Mill Creek Baptist Church was still very subject to Indian attacks. And after a raid in 1755 and the defeat of General Braddock, Elder Gerard and some of the members fled from Frederick County, Virginia, which is now Berkeley County, West Virginia, and he came to Loudoun County, Virginia, which is now in West Virginia. and they were united. This church was united with the Catoctin Baptist Church. And then in 1756, the Catoctin Baptist Church called John Gerard to be pastor. And he became the first resident pastor. Remember, before that, they had 2 missionary pastors. And then just out of interest, you have 2 pictures here. This is recent pictures of the building in Catoctin. And then to the right of that is, this was eventually called Gerardstown. And that's, of course, named after this John Gerard. And you can see that there as well. Then we come to Severns Valley Baptist Church, 1781. This is the first Baptist church in the state of Kentucky. At the close of 1780, immigrants came into the territory of Kentucky from Virginia. And among them were many Baptists. There were Lutherans, there were Presbyterians, there were all kinds. But there were many Baptists. This John Gerard, who was the pastor of Catoctin Baptist Church, he came with Captain Thomas Helm, Colonel Andrew Hines, and Samuel Haycraft to the territory of Kentucky and settled where Elizabethtown is today. Back then it was called Severns Valley because of the valley. This church, by the way, is still standing. It's still in existence in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I'm not sure if it has the name Baptist on it anymore. But on June 17, 1781, it says that this group of people under the shade of a large sugar tree located where the cemetery, the public cemetery, currently stands. That's where the church was organized. And they constituted with 18 members. And it took its name from the valley, Spencer's Valley, or Severns Valley. And that's from John H. Spencer's History of Kentucky Baptist. Then you come to Cedar Creek, Bardstown, Kentucky. July 4th, 1781. Elder Joseph Barnett led in the organization, assisted by John Sherrard, the pastor of Severns Valley Baptist Church. And Joseph Barnett became the first pastor. Cox Creek Baptist Church. It's the southwest part of Nelson County, April 17, 1785. This too taken from John H. Spencer, History of Kentucky Baptist. Then we come to this man, Benjamin Tolbert. Benjamin Tolbert was born in North Carolina around 1760. He settled in Middle Tennessee. As a soldier, he was wounded in battle. God would use such to cause him to see his sinful condition and to save his soul. He learned to read after marriage by the aid of his wife, and he came to Kentucky. And as he made his way to Kentucky, he was united with this Cox's Creek Baptist Church. And Elder Tolbert would pastor several churches in Kentucky at the same time. He pastored Hazel Creek Baptist Church, Beaver Dam Baptist Church, Nelson Creek Baptist Church, Sandy Creek Baptist Church, Walton's Creek Baptist Church, Pond Run Baptist Church, all at the same time. And again, these churches at that time met usually once a month. And because of a shortage of preachers, they would travel. It was said of him that dense forests, heavy rains, high waters, and hard winds were seldom obstacles between him and his churches. His death occurred on November 10th, 1834, at the age of 74. The Gasper River Association erected a monument over his grave in 1867, bearing the following description. And I had pictures of this, but I didn't put them. In memory of Elder Benjamin Tolbert, who was a pioneer Baptist preacher in the Green River country. The time and place of his birth unknown, died November 10th, 1834. His toils are past, his work is done, and he's fully blessed. He fought the fight, the victory won, and entered into rest. That brings us to Hazel Creek Baptist Church, which is Muhlenberg, Kentucky, Muhlenberg County, Kentucky, which is the central city area of Kentucky. December 3rd, 1797, Benjamin Tolbert left the Cox Creek Baptist Church and he arrived in Muhlenberg County. And the Hazel Creek Baptist Church was established. In 1799, 12 members were authorized to constitute an arm, which we would call a mission point today, at the house of George Clark on Pond Creek. That would lead to the forming of the Nelson Creek Baptist Church on June 10th, 1803. These two churches, Hazel Creek, Nelson Creek, organized most of the Baptist churches in Muhlenberg County, and there were a bunch of them. And this was taken from Muhlenberg County Baptist Association, Kentucky Histories of the Local Churches. That brings us to Bellevue Baptist Church, and there's quite a gap here from 1797 to 1884. But one of them, again, this Hazel Creek and Nelson Creek, they organized a lot of churches. One of the churches that was organized out of Hazel Creek was Bellevue Baptist Church. It was located on a high hill overlooking the towns of Bevere and Cleeton. It was called Bellevue because there was a bell tower and it could be seen from the bottom of the hill. On December 3rd, 1944, and there's a lot of history on this Bellevue, but we just skipped forward. December 3rd, 1944, F.R. Bingham of Mayfield, Kentucky, whom Brother Wilkerson knew very well, was called to pastor Bellevue Baptist Church. On December 8th, 1945, the church voted to change the name of the church to Cleeton Baptist Church. So this Bellevue Baptist Church is now Cleeton Baptist Church because the church moved to the town of Cleeton. In 1951, again, Brother Bingham went there in 1944. In 1951, he resigned his pastorate of the Cleeton Baptist Church, feeling led of the Lord because many of the members had moved to the Chicagoland area. He felt led of the Lord to go to the Chicagoland area. That brings us to Jordan Missionary Baptist Church, Portage, Indiana. In all the Baptist history, it'll say Chicago because, as it is today. And if you're within 50 miles of Chicago, you live in Chicago. October 1951, the Cleeton Baptist Church organized the Jordan Missionary Baptist Church in Portage, Indiana, with Brother Bingham as pastor. 1960, Brother Warren Wilkerson, I just put this in here because everybody knows him, was followed Brother Bingham as pastor. That brings us to ourselves. Faith Baptist Church, November 14th, 1975. In 1972, the Jordan Missionary Baptist Church, Portage, Indiana, authorized the Jordan Missionary Baptist Mission. in Lake and Hills, Streamwood. On November 14th, 1975, the work was established as a church and was named Faith Missionary Baptist Church. Dale Stoffren was named as pastor. What's below that is the organizational services. Brother Eugene Clark opened in prayer. Brother Denny Breckner, that's Brother Wilkerson's son-in-law, led singing. These are the songs that were sung. Did a lot of singing that day. We're marching to Zion, blessing Redeemer, when the roll is called up yonder. Brother Dale Stoffren prayed, sang another song, When We All Get to Heaven. Brother Covington prayed. I believe he was a member of Jordan Baptist Church. Then we sang again, Nothing But the Blood. Denny Breckner prayed, and we sang Where He Leads Me. And there was a roll call. What that means is the members, who had been the charter members, their names were read, and that was done by Brother Roger Jones. Church Covenant was read by Brother Don Titus. And, well, let's see. Velma, myself, and Sharon would be the only ones that know some of these next two names. Motion made by Richard Thies, seconded by Rich Graves to accept the church covenant. Motion carried. Articles of faith were read by Brother Don Titus. Motion made by Richard Thies and seconded by Brother Ed Shannon to accept the Articles of Faith as found in the book Why Be a Baptist by Boyce Taylor. Motion carried. Motion made by Richard Thies and seconded by Dale Stoffren that the church be named Faith Missionary Baptist Church. Motion carried. Brother Dan Gordon prayed. Motion made by Richard Thies. Richard Thies liked to make motions. And seconded by Dale Stoffren to accept Brother Albert Bonner as charter member in his absence. Motion carried. Brother Eugene Clark preached the message from Proverbs 22:28 and also 23:10, remove not the ancient landmarks. Motion made and accepted to appoint Dale Stoffren as moderator till ordained as pastor, which took place at a later date. Motion made and seconded to call for the ordination of Brother Dale Stoffren, with date to be set by Brother Wilkerson. Motion made and seconded that Brother Jim Kittle, and again, Velma, Sharon, and I would be the only ones who knew him, be the church clerk. Motion carried. Motion made and seconded that Rich Graves be church treasurer and Brother Steve Fitch assistant. Motion carried. Brother Roger Jones closed in prayer. That was a long service. I don't remember it really, but just reading that, it had to be. In 1976, the church authorized Brother Dan Gordon to start a mission point in Hanover Park. The mission point met in the Park District building at Hanover Park, in Hanover Park. In 1977, the mission point was closed. Brother Dan Gordon was authorized to start a mission point in Woodridge, Illinois. April 29th, 1978, the mission was organized into a church by the Faith Missionary Baptist Church and was called the Sovereign Grace Baptist Church. We have the minutes from that organization as well. In 1982, Brother Dale Stoffren resigned as pastor of the Faith Missionary Baptist Church, and the church called Brother Dan Gordon as pastor. The Sovereign Grace Baptist Church was disbanded, and the members were received into Faith Missionary Baptist Church. In 1990, after meeting in homes in the Streamwood Park District building, the church rented a storefront, which is where we are right now, has a meeting place. Now, I was thinking back, I believe, and it may be a few dollars off, but I don't think we were paying much more than $35, $50 a month for the Park District building. If you remember, we'd go there and set up all the chairs, take all the chairs down, all of that. And then we came here, and I believe the first rent was like $800 and something. But in 1999, Pastor Dean Gordon resigned, the pastor of Faith Missionary Baptist Church. The pastor, Zor is spelled wrong there. It should be Z. I just saw that. It's not the Zor Baptist Church. It's Zor. Cunningham, and the church called Brother James Murphy as pastor. 2002, Brother Murphy resigned as pastor. 2002, the church called Brother Robert Keller as pastor. 2019, Pastor Keller resigned, the pastor of Faith Missionary Baptist Church. And 2020, Brother Dan Gordon was again called as pastor. So the church has had 4 pastors and 5 pastorates. So our history is an illustration that the Lord, who worketh all things after the counsel of His own will, uses a variety of people. That was true long, long before any of us were ever born. The Lord was using a variety of people to bring us to this point. Used a variety of events to bring us to this point. Again, Romans 8:28. He works all things together. Our history is a declaration that God is faithful. God is faithful. It's also an acknowledgement of God with us. Our history is an exclamation of the wonder of God's love, His mercy and care. You think of the early history prior to our organization. There was severe persecution. You had the French-Indian War from 1754 to 1763. You had the Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783. You had the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. And all that time, through all those difficulties, the Lord had His people, the Lord had His churches. And then you consider what the people went through in coming to these territories. The forest that they had to go through, the seemingly impossible, insurmountable difficulties that they were faced with. But God was faithful, enabling His people to persevere in faith. And then you take our history since its organization. And right now we have 3 charter members, Velma, myself, and Sharon. And you take, Velma's the only one that's been here the whole time. And our history since the organization, there have been difficulties. There have been trials. There have been battles. There have been struggles. There have been enemies. But God, all along the way, enabled His people to stand and to withstand and persevere. And we can say with Samuel, hitherto hath the Lord helped us. And we can say with Isaiah, in Isaiah 50 verse 9, behold, the Lord will help me or us. You look back and you see that through it all, you see the Lord's hand. Again, God used unsaved people. He's used all kinds of people to bring us to this point. Looking back and seeing God prepares us for the present, prepares us for the future. And we say with the psalmist, Psalm 121:2, my help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. We are a blessed people. I was going to, and then I forgot. I was going to make a list of some of the many members that we've had that were faithful to God and who've gone home to be with the Lord. There's been several. I think of Brother Cal, I think of Sister Ruth, and others. And the Lord's been good.